tsunamis immediately after an earthquake. A strong earthquake lasting 20 seconds or more is a natural tsunami warning. Do not wait for an official warning. Gather your family members and evacuate immediately after the shaking stops. Don't delay. A tsunami could occur within minutes.
This message is sponsored by the Australian Government, AusAid, and produced by NEMA in collaboration with WinFM.
Insurance Company Limited, where you get more coverage for less.
Tune in to Creative Voices, the ultimate radio call-in program where innovation meets inspiration. Join me, Dr. Sarah Owen, as I welcome brilliant Caribbean creatives and innovators for engaging sessions that promise to spark your creativity. Don't miss this unique opportunity to interact with our guests, ask your burning questions, and gain insights that could elevate your own creative endeavors. Tune in every other Friday from 10 a.m. to midday. Get inspired. Let your voice be heard. Mark your calendars and prepare to embark on a journey of creativity and innovation with Creative Voices.
Save your quarters and save your dollars. You could protect.
Parents and guardians, it's time to secure your child's success. Enroll them in Aspire and unlock amazing benefits. $500 in cash savings, $500 in investment shares, and life-changing financial education to teach budgeting, saving, and investing. Don't wait. Sign up your child or ward for Aspire today and give them the tools to achieve greatness. Visit aspire.gov.kn for more information.
Welcome to Island Tea with your faves. Keep it locked in with us for your daily dose of hot tea only on Win Media 98.9.
Good morning, and how are we doing this morning? It is another Friday. For those of you celebrating, happy birthday. Celebrate safely today. To the regional and international diaspora, good morning. To the Federation of St. Kitts and Nevis, good morning. It's the 16th of May, just about 8 minutes after the hour of 8. I hope we're all doing well today. Quint, how are you doing this morning?
I'm quite fine.
Alrighty. Just remember, we're being simulcast on TVC Channel 40, Facebook, and YouTube. The numbers you can reach us at in the UK, it's 0333-440065. In the USA, two numbers, 1718-285-6984 or 1-305-921-4619, or our local numbers, 466-0989. Now, I was looking in the local headlines and I saw a simulation exercise to get underway in preparation for the 2025 hurricane season. I always say we can see the signs. It is the time. Let us prepare. Remember to have your hurricane goods put aside. As they say, you can buy one tuna every week. That's for a month and it adds up. Just make sure that your tuna have good dates on them, your sardine, whatever canned stuff you're going to buy, because we really can't buy perishable things. We know the electricity goes, our fridge go down, our ice melt down, even if we buy ice from the store that may have a generator. So be prepared for the season. Remember to buy your plastic containers to store your important, everything in your place is important, in your house is important, okay? But your papers that may get wet and get soggy, as we with the labels, make sure you store those things in your airtight plastic containers. So prepare. Remember, prevention is better than cure. So it's better to be prepared than to not be prepared. Remember to learn where your nearest hurricane shelter is, just in case if something happens to your house. I know you can't go out right away, but at least you know where to go until things subside, or if you think you need to go before the storm begins. and I think all of that should be provided pretty soon. We see the rains are falling, we're having various floods, so be mindful when the guts are running of where you drive. Just be mindful of being cautious on the road. We saw yesterday, we can't say it was the driver's fault, but trailer off of us, the big trucks, it fell into or by a business establishment. I didn't hear anyone being hurt, so thank God for that. So let us be mindful on the roadways today. As I move away from the storm to the roadways, let's be kind. We know it's Friday. We know everybody has to get somewhere. Nowhere is far in St. Kitts. Let's be courteous. Let's be kind. We'll all get there, even if we get there a little late. As I always admonish you to, just apologize to your boss and try not to do it again. But let's all be kind and cautious today, Friday. Quint, what's on the mind today?
Nothing really.
Nothing much?
No.
How's the weather? How's the weather treating your crops? Everything looking good?
Well, I haven't been there for a while.
What?
Because, I have certain other things I have to deal with otherwise.
Just good. You're going to have overgrowth?
I'll get, most definitely, because every little rain with our soil, everything goes crazy. But I'll see that when I see that. I don't stress too much over things.
Mm-hmm.
I take every day as it comes.
Mm-hmm. Oh, and I owe big congratulations to Jazara Claxton. Jazara is our first female player to make the St. Kitts West Indies team here from St. Kitts. So she has joined the Louis Brothers as well. So that's a big thing for us. So 3 of our nation's finest. So congratulations, Jazara, and you have proven that hard work gets you far. Don't let no negativity, don't let nothing keep you down. Just keep working hard, keep doing well, and keep making your nation and us proud. I know your mommy's beaming from ear to ear, your aunts, your uncle, everybody's happy for you. I'm happy for you as well, so keep doing well. Ignore the noise, do your best.
We have a caller.
Okay, caller, good morning. You're live on Island T.
Good morning to everybody, and greetings once more in Jesus' name, the only Savior of sinners from the sins and from hell, and the second person of the eternal Trinity. Now, I would like to clear up something, because I think I was misunderstood yesterday, and a strawman argument was used against me, and I think I need to clear it up. Now, when I said yesterday that, well, when I work in for government, I used to speak out, whereas others chose not to. What I meant by that, I wasn't really focusing on a person's department that they were working in. Even though, yes, if things happen illegally and unethically, I think you should speak out, and if necessary, publicly. So even in that case, I would agree. But what I was more concentrating on is speaking out generally between some people, the wait and pension to when they go do it. Well, everybody is everybody thing. But what I meant is this. For example, day before yesterday, sometime this week when it was mentioned, a certain gentleman who used to call in when his sister was undergoing harassment from the government to move her business place because she was selling along a certain road or a certain highway. And they harassed her and they moved her and put others in the place. Well, when they were harassing her, I spoke out. And Mark, I working for government, you know? And I came on there and I spoke out. That ain't had nothing to do with inland revenue. These are kind of things I mean. For example, again, Ben Phipps was mentioned, I think it was this week again, when the government harassed him and even destroyed his farming business. When that was going on, I spoke out. That ain't had nothing to do with inland revenue. See, when me and Washington Archibald even had a talk about it when we were condemning the wrongness that the government was doing at the time. Also during the COVID, when the Prime Minister was having his thing on the TV, when they were speaking on the TV, like I mentioned before, I called in and I said, no, what you all are doing are wrong. And these COVID vaccines that you all are rolling out, they are known to be causing heart inflammation, pericarditis, myocarditis, and I was cut off. Saying that it's spreading false information. This is the kind of thing what I mean by speaking. And there were other things. I remember this may just start in a lecture when speaking about government need to privatize that privatize. I'm speaking out that since at least during Dr. Denzel Douglas regime, saying that I think government is going wrong and this is how we all need to go and this is the biblical way to go. You know? And other things. Lastly, concerning that issue, I remember one time I used to come on there and say the government need to, for example, finish away with the sugar cane. It need to finish away with, it need to privatize its ferry. It need to privatize its ferry. One time a fellow meet me in Tony Hall and give me a question to how government could privatize the ferry. Government can't privatize the ferry. It can't happen. But so said, so done. As I said, the government needed to privatize it. Up to now, he ain't come and apologize to me, but he was man enough to insult me. And so this is what I meant by speaking out in a general sense.
But Greg, both the individuals whose name you called, they have also been speaking out during the time when we know we've been hearing their voices all the time. They might not have chosen the specific topics that you chose, but we just like we can say, yes, you spoke out, they spoke out. Miss Sylvine is always...
Not during the work time.
Well, it doesn't have to be during their work time.
But that is what I'm saying. But how?
When you say during their work time, you mean during the time that they are working for government?
No, during the time they were employed by government.
Yes. So
they never to speak out.
They used to speak out.
Well, hold on. Let me get. What are the names?
Because I remember even Mr. McMahon, he was bombasted for having 2 jobs. You forgot?
No. I'm talking about speaking out on the radio.
Well,
having 2 jobs or 3 jobs in me.
But
I'm talking about.
It is because, look, I don't know sometimes why you're so adamant that you don't seem to listen sometimes to what we're saying and what you're saying. We're saying that during the period when you were speaking out on different issues, these individuals were also speaking out on... Look, Sylvine has spoken out on so many different issues that people seem... people seem to feel like, well, they consistently tell her to get off the radio. All when Sylvine was employed, she had other issues that she spoke about, teaching issues and other,
And publicly, did she speak out against them publicly?
Well, how did we hear you? You spoke out publicly. To speak out
publicly on the radio.
To speak out publicly is to speak out on the various radio stations. Ask anyone if Sylvine and, well, Mr. McMahon more of late, because there was a time when we used to hear Sylvine from way back, but then we started also to hear Mr. McMahon, and they spoke on various radio programs, on public.
Yeah, after they went on pension.
So what are you trying to say? After they did that because they didn't want the government or whomever?
No. What I'm saying is that what I'm saying is that it is What I'm saying that it is double standard to encourage people to speak out against the wrong that is going on the job and to fight for the rights publicly. But at the same time, when you was employed, you played it safe until you went on pension. That's what I'm saying. That's what I'm saying. That's so I wanted to clear up that strawman argument.
But we disagree with you. We're saying perhaps they can call in and most likely defend themselves. But I for one, I'm saying that I've always heard, especially Miss Sylvine, because she's older, has always for years and years been speaking on various issues.
Yes, after she went on pension.
No.
So why are you saying
during
after?
Her time of employment.
Well, I may be wrong, but she would have to call in and say otherwise.
She won't be listening. She's going to call in. But I want to know why you say after they go on pension, because you call another individual's name, whose name we won't call this morning. So I was wondering if you meant they couldn't speak out before because they were afraid that they may not get their pension. So that now that they're receiving pension, they feel that they have the right and they can now speak out. So they were allowing wrong before, but
no, what I'm saying is, as I've just said a few seconds ago, I am saying it is the use of double standards to tell people that they should speak up and speak out, even with things on the job, when you never, that they should do it publicly. Come publicly, speak out and speak up, fight for your rights and that sort of stuff. When you played it safe during your time of employment.
But this is a different era. Let's say this is a different time. People feel more...
No, principles don't change. Principles do
Listen,
not
we never
change.
spoke back to our parents. Kids these days are speaking back to their parents and they're not getting lashes. So this is a different time. People feel more comfortable to speak out. People don't feel like, even if they get terminated or whatever, they still go and speak out again against the same people that we see. We see all of that's happening. But people are more, people feel that they have a right now. People feel freer. People feel empowered.
But what I'm saying, while they were not speaking out publicly, I was speaking out by the grace of God, by the help of God. So I don't see this thing about one time. It was principles are principles, and they always remain the same.
Even before
irrespective of the time.
I was involved in radio, I would always pass somewhere, and I would always hear that voice. That's why when she called, I only needed to hear her name.
Yeah.
But I always was familiar with that voice. She was always, as Quint mentioned, people would be telling her, keep up. Listen, I used to love to hear her and the late Mr. Clark fight. Because it's one behind the other, one behind the other.
But what I'm saying, you used to hear that voice after she went on pension. That's what I'm saying.
That is what you say.
Pension.
That is what you say. So we're going to see. Maybe one of these times when she calls in, we'll ask her whether she started to speak only when
after she felt comfortable.
She had retired.
I'm saying at that time, by the grace of God, at that time God had me speaking out. By the grace of God, and He preserved me. Let me tell you. I remember one time a former custom comptroller said to me, "Hey, once ago, I guess," and I said, "I've been speaking out during I've been speaking out during the early 90s when Pam still was in government." And one custom officer, comptroller, said to me, "Hey, if it was further back, you and another gentleman who used to call in, y'all would have get fired." I said, "You know what? God is in control." Because, God is in control. And other people, remember one time a co-worker of mine asked me, "Greg, were you afraid you get fired?" I said, "Yeah, I'm scared. But guess what? God is in control. I put my trust in God." But anyhow, that for that topic. And another thing, Kamala, for Trinidad. At least she said she's gonna be reintroducing capital, the death penalty. And all I would like to say, it would be a good step in the right direction if she do it the biblical way, which is based upon 2 or 3 witnesses. The criminal is put to death.
No, that's
that would
not
be a
gonna,
very good thing.
That is not gonna. Greg, that is not gonna happen. It's gonna be either by a jury of 12 of your peers, or so.
They can't do it like that.
This 2 individual and 3 witnesses is not going to work in our modern society.
Exactly.
It's not going to work.
They're not going to allow it.
Well, for those cases where you have 2 or 3 witnesses and people are executed on that basis, which would be the biblical way to go, that would be a right step in the right direction, biblically speaking.
You have on a radio or something? There have been individuals who've been who've been convicted and sentenced by a jury of 12, and they wound up innocent. You're aware of that, right? So imagine when you just pick 2 or 3.
Well, no. Well, to actually need to, but what you have to investigate them properly. You have to question them properly, because in a lot of these modern courses where things are not done biblically, all kind of bribery and all kind of nonsense goes on. Judges refuse to admit evidences that should be admitted in court and all kind of other nonsense that goes on. But once things are done biblically and openly to the public, and the 2 or 3 witnesses are questioned properly and that sort of stuff, I think the chances of an innocent person being executed wrongly, I think the chances of that is basically nil, basically. Yeah. But anyhow, thank you for the time. I appreciate it.
Right.
Yeah. Okay. Let's take a bit of a commercial break, and we'll be right back.
Found the sound 98.9
Unlock the secrets to a healthier you. Join Dr. Natalie Osborne every Tuesday at 8:30 a.m. on WinFM 98.9 for Weekly Dose. During this 30-minute health discussion, we aim to educate and empower our listeners on the prevention of diseases, early diagnosis, and timely intervention. Don't miss out on this informative health talk where we teach you to live your best life. Weekly Dose, Tuesdays on WinFM 98.9.
Let TDC Financial Services help you go for your goals. Whether you're thinking of taking that grand vacation, down payment on a house, higher education, TDC Financial Services has various plans that will allow you to go for your goals. Choose from the Accumulator Plus, Investment Starter Plan, and Fixed Deposit. Ready to go for your goals? Visit us at TDC Financial Services, where money is made easy.
Hey, have you heard about the water shortage in our area?
Yeah, it's pretty serious. I've been trying to conserve water as much as possible.
Me too. I've started taking shorter showers and turning off the faucet when I brush my teeth.
But that's great. Another way to save water is to fix any leaks in your house.
Oh, I hadn't thought of that. How much water can a leak waste?
A small leak can waste up to 20 gallons of water daily, which can really add up over time.
Wow, that's a lot. And have to check for any leaks in my house.
But another good tip is to only run your dishwasher and washing machine when they're full to save water and energy.
I'll keep that in mind. It's important that we all do our part to conserve water, especially during this shortage.
Absolutely. Every drop counts.
This message was brought to you by the St. Kitts Water Services Department. Learn more at water.gov.can.
St. Kitts and Nevis, it's time to celebrate! We're raising our glasses and saying cheers to 20 years as your trusted telecommunications provider. And because we love our amazing customers, we're giving you the chance to win. Every week, we've got exciting prizes just for you. And that's not all. Step into a cash vault for a shot at $2,000 in cash. To qualify, switch to Digicel, activate a 3-day plan or higher, pay your bill in full, sign up for postpaid or a new Digicel Plus internet package. Stay connected, keep enjoying the best service, and get ready to win. 20 years strong, and we're just getting started. Visit a Digicel retail store today. WINN is 98.9. 98.9 is Win FM.
Welcome to Island Tea with your faves. Keep it locked in with us for your daily dose of hot tea only on Win Media 98.9.
And we are back on Island Tea, and today is also International Day of Living Together in Peace. The theme for this year's day is Unity in Diversity, Building a Culture of Peace through Dialogue and Collaboration. Today aims to uphold the desire to live and act together, united in differences and diversities to build a sustainable world of peace, solidarity, and harmony.
We have a caller.
Caller, good morning. You're live on Island T.
Good morning, good morning.
Hi, young lady. How are you?
Well, I'm 77, young and going strong.
I know you have been called to the bench, and I see
sending
you
up
heeded the
great
call.
blood pressure.
Oh, huh?
Sending up great blood pressure.
Oh, Lord, please don't do that.
He may go good friend, you know. I know Greg long time.
I know. I just teasing.
I don't know really when he started to leak. What he would have leaked, I would have seen at my job.
So were you afraid? Let me ask before you start. Were you afraid to speak before you got your pension?
No, but girl, I was known to be allowed on the radio.
Exactly.
Exactly. Let me give you a joke. One day I was talking to the permanent secretary, who was Lawrence, Wendy Lawrence. He said, Miss Henry, all the time you working, I thought you were labor.
Oh boy.
You understand? So, I mean, I was trained, and look, I come from a family that love to talk and debate. And my exposure gives me access to a wider range of information. Both by biblical teaching, economic statistics, and my different kind of training. And I have been active since when Black Power came in. My brother John lived in St. Thomas. And whenever he came home, he would bring these jets. Remember these little jet magazines?
Magazines, yeah, the black magazines.
And I became more exposed to the condition of blacks living in the USA. Well, I was I knew because born and raised in it. So when the black power movement was active, I used to go to the meetings and things, and so I have never ever straightened my hair. I used to wear a lot of African clothes. I don't know if Quint know that.
No, I wasn't aware of that.
Yeah, man, I used to have my outfits and so. Well, when you come to the guard path, you know, we fall out there.
Yes.
Good morning, darling. Come in. You understand? So, I don't know. Greg used to talk the church thing. But for Greg information, is two false witness crucified Jesus, you know?
Yeah.
I want you to know that.
That's a good point.
And Stephen, it's two of them. They hire them. So there's no guarantee that two people come up being that the people guilty.
Yeah.
It couldn't be worse than Jesus. Two, they said they got two, even with Paul. They brought people to say, Paul said this and he can this. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Greg has these kind of ideas, which is good. But you see, because our people don't read, we don't research. A lot of us who do research, we're looking on one side. And some of us are born oppositionists.
Yes.
So no matter what you think, they're gone on the other side.
Yeah.
But he doesn't mean me, and why should Mr. McMahon be a thing? If you got nothing to leak, what you gonna leak? Foolishness?
Well, not so much leak. I won't say leak, but what he was saying is that on other topics apart from your employed, the job that you are employed in, that you should speak on other topics. But I was telling him that as far as I'm aware, that you spoke on various issues, teaching issues. Yeah. You've always represented the teachers and so on and so forth.
Yeah, and the economic and the social status in the country. Maybe he wasn't listening to me, you know.
But it seems to me that
you owe me an
sometimes
apology.
it seems it seems to me that sometimes Greg has a selective memory.
Greg goes on one side, come with one side of the story. Remember when they had the issue? The people were saying, "Oh, these people does molest children and whatever story."
Yeah.
They were buying it. You got to listen and find out what people saying. Does it make sense? Is it true?
Yes, it's true.
You know what I mean?
Yeah, because here's an example.
Those are the same sort of people there on January 6th, you know.
Because here's an example. Abraham Chore in Africa. I realized that because of he's popular and what he's doing, everybody, almost every minute you see some news coming out. And I started to investigate into them, and I found out a lot of them are not true. Because he's popular, they're just using his name, and they know when you see his name, you're going to click on it. And a lot of the times when you click on it, it has nothing to do with him whatsoever.
That's what I'm telling you. You know, you see, when now that this government, what those.
Yes.
One of the payment that they will continue to have was the one where they use the U.S. funds to organize whatever in people country.
Yes.
So you see election going on and a lot of activity sponsored by the U.S.
Yeah, yeah. I firmly believe that even some of what is happening in Haiti, the U.S. is behind it.
Not some, most of it.
Yeah.
You know? And so when we're talking, and the Conservative Party, they're the last. So he seemed to be dug into the Conservative Party. What is their response? Oh, the Jews will not outnumber us. Black people must get all the family planning.
Yeah.
You understand?
Yeah, yeah.
So sometimes these issues, we don't look deep enough. We look on the surface.
Yeah.
They got measles going on. Oh, well, the vaccine, this and the vaccine, that. But what happened if measles break out in Washington, D.C.?
Yeah.
Trump could go anywhere, you know. In some, you know, I tell you, imagine a whole country held captive by one man.
Yeah.
A whole party. That is Trump's party.
Yeah.
So a lot of the issues that come out, they don't even make no sense. You see, you can put on 145 on China. But China's stupid. You want 145, you get 100 and something.
Yeah.
You keep going down now to a 30.
Yeah.
What he has done, he has disrupted the whole world system.
Yes.
Because he thought, because he got some people backing him up, that before God is he. I mean, ridiculous. So whether Camilla. I don't support abortion and homosexuality. But I'm not going to throw my thing in there where people despise black people. You crazy?
Yes.
Exactly.
Obama wasn't born in America, and Obama black. And Camilla covers some black, you know. And you back in that party? You see a lot of black, ignorant black men, you know, because a lot of black men voted for Trump.
Yeah, that is
Who
true.
now discover that they're in an awkward position.
Yeah.
But I don't think so, because some of them still backing him. Some of the same ones.
Hello. Some of them must be getting the same dose thing we're talking about. Just like in saying, it's the parties pay the Spanish people to vote for them. They say, oh, the Muslims, no, they're in the Muslim thing. Take out Hamas. You think all of the people who voted for him now, some of them, anyway, Greg adds to, but tell Mr. Greg, I say, start to study saying it, yeah? The economic thing.
He listening, man. He listening to you.
Yeah, and tell him I say when he come, don't take so long, because he just got me dialing. Bring up 2 of your issues at a time. All right, then.
All right,
okay.
Thank you, Mr. Henry.
Yeah, let's take another commercial break and we'll be right back. I'm trying to get our ads in, you know, as often as possible.
We're different. We're 98.9. 98.9. Win FM.
The importance of co-parenting. Every child has the right to bond with the parents that gave them life. Children are happiest when they can freely communicate and enjoy the time, talents, and lessons that each parent brings to the relationship.
We make co-parenting difficult when we focus on differences rather than what is in the best interest of our children. Parents, your relationship with each other should never affect the relationship you have with your child. Celebrate your children together. They deserve your best. A message brought to you by the Department of Probation and Child Protection Services. Contact us at 467-1311 or 662-6833 for more information.
Ready to save while you build? Now you can at Builders Paradise. Yes, shoppers, build up your Value Club points at Builders Paradise. That's right, Value Club members and shoppers, your favorite frequent buyer club is now available at the home of hardware and more. Whether you're laying tiles, painting walls, replacing doors, upgrading windows, or fixing up your home, every purchase at Builders Paradise now earns you Value Club points. Enjoy exclusive benefits like discounts on thousands of items, special savings for seniors, instant deals, quarterly rebates, plus an extra up to 2% off every quarter. Shop more, save more, earn more, only at Builders Paradise. Don't miss out. Start building your rewards today with Value Club at Builders Paradise, because every bolt, board, and brush brings you closer to bigger, better savings. Terms and conditions apply.
Voices has a new time. Starting Friday, January 24, tune in from 10 to 12 on Mondays, Wednesdays, and Fridays for Voices right after Island Tea on WinFM. Money Matters with Dr. Terrence Martin moves to Monday afternoons from 1 to 2 p.m. Inside the News on Saturday mornings, now 10 to 12 noon. Tune in to WinFM 98.9. Log on to winmediaskn.com and our YouTube, Facebook, and Twitch pages. And let's go. Keep up with the news on our website and by following our Win Media SKN channel on WhatsApp. Message your comments or call WinFM at 466-0989, 662-0989, or call our U.S. numbers from anywhere, 718-285-6984, 305-921-4619, and call our sales office at 466-9586. Voices, now 10 to 12 a.m. Mondays, Wednesdays, and Fridays. Money Matters, 1 to 2 p.m. Monday afternoon. And Inside the News, Saturdays, 10 to 12 noon on WinFM 98.9.
Maybe it's the way the brilliant gold liquid reflects our sunshine, or how the bright blue of its label mirrors the clear Caribbean skies overhead. Maybe it's the fresh, crisp taste of this beastly cold beer on a scorching hot day. Maybe it's even the way it brings us all together. But one thing is for sure, Carib is very much a part of who we are wherever we're from in the Caribbean. Carib. It's the way we play. Drink responsibly.
Welcome to Island Tea with your faves. Keep it locked in with us for your daily dose of hot tea, only on Win Media 98.9.
And we're back on Island Tea, and I have an article in front of me that I want to read. And it's headed IMF Executive Board concludes 2025 Article 4 consultation with St. Kitts and Nevis. And it says the Executive Board of the International Monetary Fund, the IMF, completed the Article 4 consultation for St. Kitts and Nevis. The authorities have consented to the publication of the staff report prepared for this consultation. Following the post-pandemic rebound, the economy is facing challenges. Real GDP growth moderates to 1.5% in 2024, reflecting lower contributions from tourism and government services, while inflation eased to 1%. The fiscal deficit increased to 11% of GDP in 2024, mainly driven by a sharp decline in the citizen by investment revenue amid recent reforms, aimed at strengthening the CBI program. The current account deficit widened due to lower CBI inflows. Meanwhile, credit growth accelerated on the back of pent-up damage, especially in mortgage loans, amid increasing competition. Groundwork is ongoing for a potentially transformative geothermal project. In 2025, economic growth is projected to strengthen to 2%, supported by expanding tourism, while inflation is expected to remain stable. In the medium term, growth is forecast to rise to 2.5%, benefiting from the large energy projects. Nonetheless, fiscal deficits are forecasted to remain high in the medium term, driven by expectations of structurally lower CBI revenue. resulting in public debt exceeding 70% of the GDP by 2030. Near-term risks to growth are titled to the downside, but progress is fostering renewable energy, provides upside potential over the medium term. The uncertainty and validity of the CBI revenue pose a significant two-sided risk, but a further decline in CBI revenue would pressure fiscal accounts. Downside risks include a slowdown in key source markets for tourism, global financial instability, and commodity price volatility. The economy is highly exposed to natural disasters. On the other hand, the energy projects could foster growth and fiscal revenue in the medium term. So the executive board assessments, the executive directors welcome the authority's commitment to prudent policy reforms and stress that the significant challenges the economy is facing require a multi-pronged approach to address low growth and fiscal sustainability while safeguarding financial stability and the external position. Directors encourage the authorities to implement a prompt and decisive fiscal consolidation to keep public debt below the regional debt ceiling and reduce resilience on the citizenship by investment program. This would create space for capital expenditure, resilience against natural disasters, and contingent liabilities. Directors stress that fiscal consolidation should be driven by tax revenue, mobilization and reductions in current expenditure anchored by fiscal rules. Greater diversification of funding sources would also help to lengthen debt maturities and lower financing costs. Directors supported the authority's plan to establish a sovereign wealth fund to observe upsides in CBI revenue and call for continuing improvements in the CBI framework, including its transparency. They also welcome the authorities' initiatives to implement reforms to improve the sustainability of the Social Security Fund. We have a caller?
No.
Okay. Directors underscore further progress is needed to strengthen the financial sector, including to reduce NPLs and meet the ECCB's prudential requirements. They emphasize the importance of continuing to strengthen the balance sheet of the systemic bank and to revitalize its business. Systemic, and revitalize its business model. Directors also call for reforms of the development bank. Building on the authorities' work in this area, they stress the need to monitor rapid credit growth and further strengthen the regulation and oversight of credit unions. It will also be important to make additional progress in strengthening the AML CFT framework. Directors emphasize that structural reforms and improved preparedness for natural disasters are crucial to boost potential growth. They stress that reforms are necessary to enhance the efficiency of government services, improve credit access, and better align labor skills with market demands. Directors noted that accelerating the energy transition would help increase competitiveness. Finally, they underscored the need to enhance the investment and the multi-layered insurance framework to strengthen natural disaster preparedness.
Well, long bit there.
Very long bit, yeah. But we really didn't have much growth in 2024. I hope 2025 is what they said it will be, and so much more. 2.5 sounds small, right?
Yeah, but in this kind of climate, worldwide climate, I guess 2.5 is better than nothing. You know, at least it's a.
There was a next report I had, but I can't find it, where I see, saying it says move down the scales, and countries that were once below.
Yeah, I think in terms of there was a time when it was at the top of the list in terms of development, but I think that we are now considerably down the list.
Yeah. And that's all because of CBI being.
Well, various factors. I can't really put my
Because
finger
almost
on any
everything
specific.
this article is just full of CBI. You realize CBI. It's
Yeah.
like we're just CBI resilient.
Well,
reliant, I should say, not resilient.
In all
reliant, sorry,
honesty,
wrong
we
word.
have been reliant on CBI for a number of years. If you go back since the point where it was Denzel Douglas who changed it, where it became like you could invest for citizenship. It seemed like from that point onward, money started coming in, and we relied more and more on it. You know, I never was for it because I don't believe that we should be selling. Well, they say they don't sell citizenship, but or passports, but to me it's the same thing.
Sound like Uncle Ralph.
Yeah, I never was for it because of so many different factors. One is that, from my understanding, what I hear is that the amount of individuals who have bought into our citizenship by investment may very well outnumber the population that we have today, and that is of concern.
Yeah, they could basically tell us leave.
Yeah, so.
When I heard the amount, I was shocked.
We continuously say, well, you know, they bought the citizenship because it offered up the opportunity to go to other places. They will never come back here. But there's a saying, never say never.
Yeah.
And remember that these individuals get children, and their children, by default, are citizens, technically. So that is one of the reasons I never really went for it. But having said that, it has benefited us, and I also adhere to the philosophy that you've got to do what you've got to do to survive, you know. So I'm not going to completely knock it. Hello, good day, caller. Good day, caller.
Caller, good day. You're live in ILNT.
Hello.
Yeah.
Hi.
Yes, I am back. Now the SIDF. People had no knowledge as to what was in it. And then here we had a situation, I'm trying to turn on the radio. We had a situation where our land was put up to pay debt.
Yes.
And here we had this excess of money coming in. And buying back the land was not a part of the policy. In fact, the information was hidden because when you ask, oh, well, it is a private fund and the party to national trust, you don't know what's going on. And then when you took a look at the board, it was party faithful people.
Yeah.
When they actually began to redistribute some, the people were not properly vetted. Imagine you're giving people 50,000, 100,000 with no proper plan, and some of them did not even sign to start to get the money.
Yeah.
It was pure irresponsibility. I used to make sure I try and read the financial statements, right, the annual one.
Yeah.
And I used to be on the radio, oh, Mrs. Henry. I mean, whenever you read the financial statements, you look at the notes.
Yes.
The notes give you an information on some of the items in the expenditure or the income. And here the country have all of this debt, paying large interest on it, and other people getting the money scot-free. People who did not own any share end up becoming shareholders. So it was corrupt.
Yeah.
And as I said, if they were thinking properly, proper strategy would have been to start to buy back the land. Buy back the land.
Yeah.
So all kind of, oh, this and all that. Nobody cared about how many persons bought the thing, you know. They were only concerned. And in fact, one big labor economists told me in the fact. We did not have to go to the IMF, you know. All right.
Yeah.
Have a good day.
Okay.
I never paid attention, excuse me, of what was happening when it came to the CBI and the Citizen by Investment. Was it as popular or was it spoken of as much now as it was then, or it's just a recent thing that's just...
Well, it was not spoken of as much because, as Sylvian alluded to, it was more kept a secret. We heard certain things, but when we tried to investigate, when you asked question, you were told, no, you can't divulge because it's a private, entity and so on and so forth. What we got were when things didn't turn out too good, then we heard some kind of what we would call shoo-shoo, not knowing the facts. And then when it came to the point where we heard that land was going to be put up to deal with the debt, that is where it kind of exploded, because then people became really, really concerned because, people are thinking about posterity and land for your children and down the line and so on and so
When
forth.
they say land for debt, what do you mean? Caller, good morning. You're live in Island T.
Yes, hello, me again. Now, this CBI program, I think it's going to come back around and destroy us further than in addition to as it has been doing in destroying us. And I think as time goes on, once we continue it, its destructive effect on us going to get worse and worse. That's number one. Number two, as I mentioned before, the more things government own, is the worse it's going to be for the country, not better, because you're racking up national debts, which you have to pay off, which sooner or later going to always result in increased taxation. And when your government carry up taxes, it's your economy more. And when the economy is faltering, the poor is suffering more.
Yeah, good day.
Okay,
Greg, we have another caller. Hello, caller.
Yes.
Yes.
Go ahead, caller.
I want to touch on the CVI program.
Yeah, go ahead.
See, the CVI program, it wasn't a dirty word, It's a dirty word now. But before, it was not a dirty word, because when the CVI program started under the PAM government, it was to help the country develop. And it was doing a great job.
Yeah. That
Right,
is a
because
period.
remember-
That is a period, caller, when we weren't even too aware of it. It was kind of working as a machinery behind the scenes.
Right. I
Yeah.
mean, like I said, it was not paying attention to it.
Yeah.
But it was doing a good job because it was...
Caller, can I
It was the
ask a
old-
question?
Sure.
Did the public know about it, though?
Yes.
Okay. Thank you.
Yes, the public know about it. It was on their pass in the house.
Okay.
So the public known about it.
Okay.
Right? And like I said, it's because of a lot of that input in the CVI, why we have the Deepwater Harbor, the Port of Zante,
Yeah.
right? The Southeast Peninsula development,
Yeah.
all that come from to the CVI. Not that it was paid for it, right? Because we have to borrow the money for those things, but it helped in developing the country further than sugar. It helped. But what happened is that it became a dirty word when people began to take it as a private bank.
Yeah.
The government changed, and they begin to abuse it. Instead of use it to develop the country. All right. Instead of use it to develop the country, they begin to abuse it. And that's what they did. So now it become a dirty word. that CVA bring about $5 billion Eastern Caribbean dollars in St. Kitts. Become the envy of the Caribbean. That's why all the other Caribbean should start to do it.
And that is why, going back to something Hortensia was asking a while ago, that is why St. Kitts Nevis catapulted ahead of even some of the bigger countries until they caught on to what was going on and then started to do the same thing.
And now become a dirty word.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But it was a good idea. It was a great idea for small developing countries. It was a great idea for small developing countries. Because, I mean, we had some industries, right? And that was doing well by helping the poor people in the industry. But then we needed to move beyond the sugar, and we couldn't do it by ourselves. So the government at that time decided, look, we can get some well-off people to contribute to this by offering them a way to citizenship to finance.
Yeah.
Development. So it was not a bad thing. It was a good idea. We just had to get abused.
I think during that period, it was used, even though the money was coming in, it was not coming in on that large scale where when it was made into this private entity, where then you started to see how much you could get within a shorter period. Whereas once ago it was, you try to entice proper investors who would make proper investments while they buy into the citizenship by investment thing. But then after it was changed, it wasn't about just getting proper investors, it was about getting whoever you can, as much as you can, as fast as you can. And that is where it exploded into being, everyone started to race for the bottom because everybody started to jack their prices down to see who could overdo it.
Yeah.
And yeah.
Yeah, it was abused.
Yeah. Okay, caller. That is. Yeah. There's something else you want? Go ahead.
I'm just telling you, this is for your husband, and I just want to. It's tea.
Hello.
Tea. Tea from Canary.
This is. This
Cleo's
is.
husband.
Yes.
Morning. How are you?
Okay. Well, it's good to hear your voice. It has been so long that if you hadn't said, I would not have recognized your voice. But it's good to hear from you, and you're doing a good job, man. When the wifey calls in, she's happy. So you're. Kudos to you, man.
Keep her happy. I tell you to keep her happy.
Okay.
Lovely.
Well, keep up the good work.
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay, so.
Yeah. Okay then.
All right, guys. Thanks for listening to me.
Yes.
Thank you for your contribution.
Yes. Take care.
On that. Like I said, a dirty word now, but it was not one before.
Yes. Okay then. Take care.
All right, yes, guys. A wonderful day.
Yeah. Greg.
Yes.
Yes. Go ahead.
Yes.
Sorry about that.
No, nothing to sorry about. Okay, nothing to sorry about. No, what I'm saying is that when government own everything, and let me reword what I said. When the more and more government control own that sort of stuff, is the more and more your economy going to suffer over the long haul, because the more expense government is in,
yes,
is the more they're going to have to borrow money, and in the end, they have to pay back that loan. So the more they're going to tax the people. And when you tax the people, the economy always go down. It always struggle more and more. And the poor are the ones who are going to always be feeling it the hardest. Let me tell you something. The government do not tax businesses, you know. A lot of people got this misunderstanding. Government do not tax, for example, Rams, Oxford, and you name all your government do not tax them, you know. it have the appearance of government taxing them, yes. It have the appearance of government taxing them. But when government put on taxes, including, we like to say, tax the businesses, they're not really taxing the businesses in reality. Who they are taxing are the customers.
Yeah. Technically, yeah, you're right.
Technically.
Yeah.
But it have the appearance as though you're taxing the businesses. No, you are taxing the customer because the customer are the ones who are going to end up paying those taxes, including the corporate tax and all kind of stuff. And that is why when government put on more and more taxes on the economy to pay and finance the increasing expenses because they're doing more and more, that is why the poor always end up doing worse and worse and worse. And not only that, when the poor do worse and worse and worse, they die quicker. They become more ill because a lot of stuff that they need to afford, they can't afford, and they can't afford to eat properly.
Yeah. And added to that is the stress of surviving, the stress of, making money.
I make it worse if the person is a single mother with children.
Yeah.
And people don't understand. People just talk, your economy decrease, your economy going down the drain, or your economy is slipping. And people just talk as though it is just that. No, when the economy is slipping or going down, that always means people are dying faster and quicker.
Greg,
and getting more ill.
That point you made about the technicality of taxing an entity, a business entity, that is a very good point, because the average person does not stop to realize that when we go into the shops, the stores, and whatever, and we see the price going up, it is because whatever is imposed upon the business is divided and dispersed onto the public.
It's the public who really paying the taxes.
Yeah.
So the taxes are really on the public, not really so much on the business, but it have the appearance as though it is on the business.
Yeah. So when we say, oh, they have no heart, they keep jacking up the prices, technically it's the system that is causing that.
Technically, Matthew, don't get me wrong, Don't get me wrong. I believe that has a lot to do with the prices. But don't get me wrong, I still think the prices could be lower.
Yes.
But you know why? You know why they ain't low? Because the government is providing protectionism to agents. Because the agents them as well, they take advantage of the government protectionism and they have the prices high, even though they might get some concessions and that sort of stuff. They still jack up the prices because that is what always happened on the protectionism. Whenever government hands out protectionism to businesses, whatever, those who enjoy the government protectionism always give you poor service and always jack up the prices. And because of that, when you go buy from the agent, you have to jack up your price too. So that is also a big factor as well, eh?
And also,
this is a big factor, and that as well.
And also, there's that instance where the business impose what we call a markup. You've been in Inland Revenue, so you're more familiar with this markup system. But when I go, like for instance, 2 days ago, I went to buy 6 feet long, 6 feet long bit of connecting jack, so I could jack a mini jack into a RCA, right? And that item, if you were to go online and look up the items, it would cost in the range of, let's say, $8 or thereabout, right? So I can't understand why is it that thing that would be around $8 to $12, it costs me over $70-something to buy it. Could you understand that that markup?
Yeah. Yeah.
Can you
That's
understand?
a hell of a markup.
Can you understand that markup? I mean,
No,
so,
that all not happen. It happened with people buy. He went overseas and I see, for example, shirts, t-shirts and so for maybe $1 or $2 or $3, and when they're selling the same t-shirts, it's a ton load of money.
yeah. So I said
You hear all of those stories.
So I said to the Indian individual in the business, I said to him, I said, look, if you continue to give us these ridiculous prices, you're going to go out of business, you know, because we are not rich people. I said to him, you look at me. Do I look like a rich person? He said, no, sir, no, sir. You know, they're very, very accommodating and very kind when they are never rude. That is one thing with them. He says, no, sir, no, sir. So an Indian couple came in and they were asking about a phone. So I turned to the Indian couple and I said to them, you too, you know, not because you're Indian, you have to also ask them to bring down the prices because it's going to kill me and it's going to kill you too. So I looked across at the person in the store who was selling, and you could see he did not feel too comfortable, right? He looked from me to them, and he said, no, sir, we're not killing you, sir. But the problem is the markup. I couldn't understand where an item that costs $8 to $12 is costing me here in St. Kitts and Nevis over almost $80.
Yeah. Well, like I said, the taxes are a big factor in it, but they are not all. Because despite the taxes are a big factor that contribute to a huge markup, still the markup could be somewhat less still.
Yes.
But what also adds on to it, like I said, government telling you, hey, if you are not the agent, you cannot bring in this to sell. Market, you could bring it in for personal use.
Yes.
But you cannot bring it in to sell. And even when you bring it in for personal, you still have to deal with customs. Maybe if you have a good friend, you could get a deal.
Yeah.
But if you not got no connection at customs, you know, you have to pay. And that is why I always argue.
Greg, now you can make the people at customs get scrutinized. You just give away that secret there, man.
No, I mean, I give it, no, nobody personal secret, but trust me, that is an open secret.
I say just give away the secrets.
Yeah.
That's an open secret, trust me.
Yeah, it's true. Content says it's an open secret.
Oh, boy.
You got to do what you have to do to survive, you know.
Yeah, but lastly, let me finish by saying this. When I said, excuse me a second. Yeah, I forgot in my throat. So let me I don't mean it figuratively.
Yes.
Figuratively. So what when I said that execution ought to be based upon 2 or 3 witnesses, okay? The Bible gave the standard in Exodus 18 verse 21. Exodus chapter 18 verse 21, where the judges are to be men of God, men who hate bribes, that sort of stuff. So in the Bible, when you did read about, hey, people were wrongly sentenced to death and that sort of stuff, even though they had 2 witnesses, you find that during those times, the courts were corrupt, they fell very short of the Exodus 18 verse 21 standard. For example, when Naboth got killed by Jezebel because of his land, yes, she got 2 witnesses, but 2 corrupt witnesses, and the Bible says one of the things that must be done is diligent investigation. All of those things were not done.
Look, Greg,
because the courts fell short of.
Greg, it is easy for you to make the statement that you make, but in actual reality, it is almost an impossibility, because you're saying they must be righteous individuals. How do we determine they're righteous? What determines their righteousness? For instance, let's use the example where Jesus Christ went into the very synagogue with a whip and beat the people in there who were selling and distributing and so on and so forth. Now, are we not to assume that these individuals were Christian, supposedly righteous people, but yet still they were doing things that went contrary to what Jesus felt was right? So it is all well for you to say there must be righteous people, but who are we as human beings to determine their righteousness?
You see, the scribes and the Pharisees, they were well known to be hypocrites. Jesus called them up many times as hypocrites. they were well known to be people who were corrupt, who give bribes and that sort of stuff, because this was a track record. So people who have this track record are not righteous. These things were public. People know that the priesthood was very, very corrupt. Very corrupt. But during the days when Israel had righteous judges and righteous kings like Moses, Joshua, David, Josiah, Hezekiah, and those sort of stuff, you never hear of these corrupt things happening.
Okay.
It's only under the corrupt leaders you hear these corrupt things happening. That corrupted the court.
We have another caller. Hello, caller.
Yeah, thank you.
Yeah.
Hello.
Yes.
Yes, I just wanted to pose a question to your last caller.
Yeah.
And it's not a frivolous question as it might appear. And I respect his opinions on the various topics, and he makes your program interesting.
Yes, he does.
But he bases a lot of things on how he interprets the Bible.
Yes.
And he has a right, okay?
Yes.
So the question I have for him is, if he could give me two numbers, how many men with names are mentioned in the Bible as compared to women? Because if I am correct, the number of men in terms of mentioned in the Bible far outweigh the number of women. When he gives me that answer, I will call back subsequently and just say what I want to say in respect to that.
Yes.
Because he seems not to appreciate cultural and other evolutionary changes in terms of people over the years. So just a simple question. Number of men and number of women mentioned in the Bible. Because he based that to indicate why women should not do certain things and why men should do certain things, failing to appreciate the type of societies that they lived in back then.
Yes.
Thank you very much.
Okay. Thanks for that input. We're going to take a bit of a break, and when we get back, we'll be having some guests here.
We're different. We're 98.9. 98.9. Win FM.
Heritage matters to me. Heritage matters to you. Join me, Percival Hanley, this coming Friday and every other Friday at 10 a.m. to 12 noon for Heritage Matters on Win Media SKN 98.9. Heritage matters to me. Heritage matters to you.
Hey kids, it's chubby time. I have to go to school and learn and play with my friends too. Every day is fun day, 'cause I love my chubby chubby. Chubby, 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 chubby. Lots of flavors for me to choose. Every day they keep me cool. It fits my handmade just for me. Everybody loves chubby. Chubby, 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 chubby. Every day is fun day. Chubby.
Let's stop child sexual abuse. The age of consent is 16, yet our 15, 14, 13, 12, 11, and 10-year-olds are becoming victims of sexual abuse and exploitation, which is being forced into sexual activity before they are old enough to decide. This causes mental, emotional, and physical harm to our children. Parents, it is your responsibility to protect and to educate your children. Develop a relationship of trust with your child. If they trust you, they will tell you. Child sexual abuse cannot be our norm. We must work together to correct this. Help us prevent, help us protect, help us prosecute. A message by the Department of Probation and Child Protection Services. Contact us at 467-1311 or 662-6833 for more information.
Welcome to Island Tea with your faves. Keep it locked in with us for your daily dose of hot tea, only on Win Media 98.9.
And we we are back on Island Tea, and in studio with us we have Dominic and was it Mr. Sutton?
Yes.
Okay, Mr. Sutton, I got that. So, gentlemen, welcome back. They have mascots, they have cups, they have pigs with glasses, they have their pamphlets, they have their notes. These gentlemen are ready, so I'll let them take it away.
We came prepared today. Good morning, good morning.
Morning.
I normally at this time of year, it's, persons are not thinking about savings and putting
Why
money
this
aside.
particular time? I would think December we're not thinking about
but
savings.
we have to remind persons of the importance of doing something like this. So
Mhm.
if you haven't started, start today. That's why we're here to tell persons, you see, start today. So yes, and I'm going to make sure that you start today. I am going to put $1 in the piggy bank. So
Okay,
I've
there's
started
$1
you
in the
off.
piggy.
I've started you off with the $1
Look at the
saving.
Oh my God.
So I started
Listen.
you off to make sure that you save at least $1 per day for the rest of the year. Maybe we
Okay.
could try filling the piggy bank for the rest of the year, and then we decide how we spend it at the end of the year.
Okay.
So Kyla and I are going to talk about some of the ways that you can go for your financial goals, not just at December or October when it's Financial Information Month. We want to remind our listeners and our customers and our clients of the importance of saving.
Okay.
So I'll let Kyla go first.
All right, take it away, Mr. Sutton.
You're letting me go first. Okay, well, TDC Financial Services has Let's Go For Your Goals deposit accounts, and I should come a little bit closer. Deposit accounts, and it's the perfect plan to help you embark on the dream vacation, achieve higher education, even make a down payment on a house or whatever else you may need. So if you want to go to St. Martin in a couple months or next year or whatever, to St. Martin Carnival, or you want to go to Trinidad Carnival next year, you can start saving now, start putting some money into any of our deposit accounts, and every single month takes a little bit of money out of your salary, and it'll go a very long way. We have a few accounts that we're gonna quickly brief over. We have the fixed deposits, which is 3 months, 6 months, and 12 months, starting from 3% to 2.5% in the 6 months and 3.5% per annum interest rate in the 12 months. There's no minimum payment. No. The minimum payment, is $1,000 and no maximum payment. Then we have the accumulator plus deposit. Minimum is 100. Term is 12 months and interest rate is 3%. These two are quite important because you could look at other banks. I'm not going to name any banks, but you could look at other banks and their deposit rates are maybe 1.5 to 2.1, whatever. We starting you from 3%. Do you know how big it is from 2% to 3%? That's so big.
1%.
Plenty more.
1% is plenty more.
Yeah.
So if you put $200 into your savings every single month, by the time the end of the year, that's a couple $1,000, I think. So that can put towards buying some gifts for your child at the end of the year, or getting a vacation next year, or whatever the case may be.
Buying Dominic a gift.
Or buying Dominic a gift for his birthday. Should I put it out in the public that Dominic's birthday is this month, the end of this month?
Oh, that's why he's so feisty. I figured it out now.
No, the piggyback.
Listen, this pig is... Listen, I got the pig out of the shop, but this pig is too cute. Dominic, you have more pigs like this you're going to give people to save?
Well, we have, once you open one of the other financial plans that Kyla would speak about, once you open a CHIP account, if you notice, CHIP stands for Child Investment. Okay, CHIP stands for Child Investment. Our CHIP plan, Child Investment plan, Kyla will tell you about that. You get a free piggy bank once you open a CHIP account.
Oh, this is so cute.
And you don't have to have children to open a CHIP account. You could give it to your goddaughter, your godson, your niece, your nephew, your friend's son, somebody. So, it gives them an opportunity to start investing early. And, children would like the idea of the piggy bank, so Let me put something in it. So I'll put another dollar in it.
Dominic didn't tell me to bring any change. Oh my gosh.
I put one in for you and one in for me.
Yeah. It's $2
It's $2. So I thought about us. And to make matters worse, I'll put a third one in for Carter.
I guess one.
So that's $3.
Right. So Dominic just mentioned the chip program, the chip account. Once you have any association with a child, if you're mother, father, godmother, godfather, if you're aunt, your grandmother, any of those, uncle, aunt, you can start with a minimum of $10 a month, and the interest rate is 3.2% from age 0 all the way till 16. Imagine if you put $100 every single month all the way until 16. That's like $20-something thousand dollars.
So the chip account has a cutoff.
Yeah.
Okay.
At age 16. Yeah.
So the child gets all that money?
At 16.
Yes.
And there's no monthly
16?
commitment.
You think that's a wise thing to give a child all that money at 16?
They're gonna put it somewhere else.
Or the parent will put it somewhere. Okay.
I think at that stage he or she might be entering CFBC, or in some cases
Yeah.
might be university or college.
Yeah, depending on the educational capacity of the child. Yeah.
And who knows? I mean, maybe some skills training, or as back in the day they used to take a gap year, so that money could be used for a gap year to give the child some opportunities.
Okay, fair enough.
So there's some requirements though for that. You must provide the child's birth certificate or passport. You must provide 2 government-issued IDs and proof, of course, that you are the parent or the guardian.
Or the godmother or whatever.
Yes. You can also use it as a gift. So, from the time the child is born or somewhere along the line, maybe some people want to leave a legacy behind for their children or their grandchildren, or, something to keep them going. This is an opportunity for you to start actually putting together an investment for them, so that by the time they're at 16, you have that conversation.
Almost $20,000.
Right, or even before you have that conversation, hey, this is yours. This is how we're going to invest it. This is how you're going to use it. So you could use it for different reasons.
Right. And I'll let Dominic talk about a few of the other deposit accounts that we have.
Okay, so Kyla is letting me speak about those longer term deposits. Thank you, Kyla. So we have what is called the interest starter plan. Right? And investment starter plan.
Okay.
So the investment starter plan is basically it's an upgrade of our accumulator. You've heard of the accumulator plus. I'll let Kyla finish with that since these two are sort of tied. We have what is called the accumulator plus. It's a deposit plan, of course, and he'll explain, but I'll tell you it's similar to that one. So it's tailored for larger goals. So for persons who want to probably buy a vehicle or buy a piece of land or
refurbish the house
or add an addition to something else or maybe a master's degree, something of the sort where you save some money before. So it's basically an extended deposit plan tailored for larger goals, land, vehicle, and so on. And the minimum term is 5 years.
Okay.
And that you can start with 100 EC dollars.
Okay.
So you start with 100 EC dollars every month for 5 years. Of course, you want to commit more, you can. And at the end of that 5 years, what you've accumulated is yours. So it's really towards a longer term goal as opposed to the accumulator, which is 1 year.
Okay.
So it's a longer term program. We also have the interest rewards plan for those persons who may be retired and they're looking for somewhere to put their cash. So you have a minimum deposit of $50,000. Yeah, you finished working, you packing up to go home, or you're going home in a couple of weeks.
Should I bring 50 over by you?
You bring 50, give to the 50 to, not by me, but to the financial services.
That's what I meant.
So you give, I'll gladly take 50,000. So you take your $50,000 to TDC Financial Services, and for a minimum term of 3 years, you get an interest rate of 3.5%. And it's really tailored for those persons who have worked hard, who want to put something aside, and to make sure that it works for them. So for those persons who are listening who retired, yes, who retired, they can have another golden egg somewhere else.
Okay.
And then it hatches, and then the returns are yours. So those interest is paid monthly, and the requirements are 2 government-issued IDs, proof of address, your passport if you're non-national. See, we're excluding nobody here. We ain't excluding nobody here. If you're non-national, you bring your passport, and it's ideal for monthly commitments and so forth for persons who want to really put something aside and make sure self-care packages or even insurance payments. They used to have insurance and so forth. So forth. That's the interest rewards plan.
Okay.
Right. Well, I think Dominic already said what I wanted to say about the Accumulator Plus. It is a 12-month plan. It's perfect for smaller goals such as traveling, Christmas, school supplies, or if you want to put a little bit towards your property insurance or vehicle insurance or whatever it takes.
Okay, so and how much do you need to start that Accumulator Plus with?
The same $100.
$100
every month.
And you save whatever amount you want per month.
Right.
And does that one have an interest rate as well?
Yes, 3% interest rate.
Oh, okay. And then when December comes, I can get all that money?
You can get all of it, yes.
Okay. All right.
So, anything else you want to add, Dominic? I think we covered everything.
Yeah, I think we covered everything. It's just that you have any contributions?
I don't have any.
Listen, don't let Dominic join it. Listen, I just love this little piggy.
I have an extra 10 cents.
Okay, let me put it in this time.
I let you put it in. I let you put it in.
$3.10.
It's better
Mr.
than
Piggy.
It's better than nothing, and it's a good start. It's a good start.
And they get this little piggy.
Once you open a chip account, you get that little piggy to remind the children how important it is to start saving early and the benefits you can have over the long term.
I realize Mr. Piggy can open at the bottom. How beneficial is this, though? Because I bought my niece and nephew 2 pigs, right? And in order to get those monies out, guess what we have to do? We have to destroy the pigs. They're plastic. They have no opening. So every time I give them money, they just shove it down in there.
So it's also about early financial responsibility.
So you can hope they don't open this bag.
Open the bottom.
Maybe we should glue the bottom.
Maybe we should. But I already invested $3.
He wants to
I want that $3 back.
Plus 3%.
That's a rock bun down the road.
Yeah, only $3 back.
Okay, gentlemen, I'll allow you to close up the segment.
Well, I just like to close with where I start. I'll also give Kyla a chance to wrap up as well. It's never too late to start putting some money aside. It's really important to think ahead.
Yes.
And TDC Financial Services has a number of products that will allow you to do just that.
Yeah.
So whether it's the Accumulator Plus, whether it's CHIP, whether it's the interest rewards plan, or whether it's the investment starter plan, we've thought of those particular products for every type of person. And we encourage persons to call TDC Financial Services at 465-2511 or 469-5430 if they have any questions. Tell them you heard it on Island T.
Yes.
And they'll be more than happy to assist you. You can also follow us on social media, which we encourage persons to do. We have sometimes we post tips and tricks and features and so on, so that persons could stay up to date with what's happening in terms of investments and so on. So we encourage persons to follow us on social media as well.
Yes, of course. All of what Dominic just said, to follow us on social media. If you have any questions, message us. Give us a call. You could come down. I mean, it's right in the heart of town.
Yeah.
You can come down and ask any one of our employees a question about any of what we offer, any about our loans or deposit accounts options.
Alrighty. Well, gentlemen, I can't say it's always a pleasure. Y'all, I didn't have tea to give to Dominic, but I gave him a pack of instant cappuccino.
Should I show them the empty cup?
No, you should not. Thank you, gentlemen. Have a great day.
You're welcome.
Found the sound 98.9.
Shopping with TDC just got much easier. Here's how. Log on to shoptdcgroup.com. Shop at your convenience at any time, from anywhere, with your smartphone, tablet, or computer. With our safe and secure payment checkout, you choose the option to pick up in-store or have your goods delivered right to your door. It's that easy. Shop tdcgroup.com, your one-stop online store.
Shop anywhere, shop anytime, same quality you love. Now online. Shop
www.shoptdcgroup.com.
It's the start of the week. It's time for a new perspective. It's time for Unfiltered. Join Azar Gums, lawyer and deputy leader of the People's Action Movement, for raw and unfiltered political analysis of the current events in St. Kitts and Nevis. Tune in every Sunday evening from 7:30 p.m. on WinFM. Join Azar Gums as he breaks the mantle and cuts through the unfiltered political noise to bring you the facts. Unfiltered every Sunday evening on WinFM 98.9.
Welcome to Island Tea with your faves. Keep it locked in with us for your daily dose of.
Do you want to know what's happening in sport? Tune in to On the Ball, a weekly tour show which is on WinFM 98.9 every Tuesday from 7 to 9 p.m. with me, your host, Troy Biff Mills. We will keep you on the ball with our variety of guests and, of course, your calls, discussing the facts and the stats and sharing your opinions. Get on the ball and stay on the ball by tuning into On the Ball with Troy Biff Mills on WinFM 98.9 every Tuesday night from 7 to 9 p.m. and also on Facebook and YouTube. Be on the ball.
Need to get your goods to St. Kitts and Nevis? Look no further. TDC Shipping has you covered with reliable cargo solutions by land, air, and sea. Whether it's a package from across the world or a large shipment of goods, TDC Shipping makes it easy, affordable, and stress-free. And with our airbox service, ordering from your favorite online stores just got even easier. Ship straight to your mailbox and let TDC Shipping handle the rest. Fast, secure, and even to your door. Visit us today at the C.A. Paul Southwell Industrial Park or Penny's Industrial Site, or call 465-2511 in St. Kitts or 469-5430 in Nevis. TDC Shipping, where reliable service meets unbeatable convenience. TDC, together we succeed.
Let's Get Real on WinFM. Hi, this is Lavi. Let's Get Real, Wednesday nights at 8 on WinFM. Get ready for an hour of real talk that will keep you engaged and informed, bringing you insights, the hottest topics of the moment, and perspectives that matter from the runway to the political arena. Real Talk with Lavi covers all. Let's Get Real, Wednesday nights at 8 on WinFM.
Welcome to Island Tea with your faves. Keep it locked in with us for your daily dose of hot tea, only on Win Media 98.9.
And we are back on Island Tea. And as we continue our topic that we started with this morning, I am seeing some comments here on our YouTube page, so I'm going to read some of them. And it's people want to know, when did the CBI program start? With all of the secrecy, how would we know what's happening now? What's not happening then? And it says, perhaps the audit should include from the very beginning so we the people can be educated on where we are exactly. If this is not done, this fiasco will always be in question. Then someone says billions missing from our CBI program. Just a comment. And then the comment goes on. The commenters go on. We need the government to give us raw details of the CBI program, when it started, how many citizenships have been given on this program, year by year, how much money has been received, etc. With all the money we've made over the last 42 years, we should have had 24/7. We should have water 24/7 and the best health care around. And the person agrees and say absolutely. And better medical facilities, better infrastructure. I know Burl always says this, but this is not Burl commenting, but Burl always said everything should have been better since we had this program for so many years. The comment goes on to say all of this money coming in and we are where we are. What has happened to the money? We the citizens must be told.
Yeah, there's a song.
Mm-hmm.
There are more questions than answers.
Than answers.
So, you know, that's all I can say. I can't.
I can honestly say, I never paid much attention to the news when I wasn't in this capacity because I flew. I wasn't here. I didn't like news. I just thought news was bad. I never, even international news, I didn't look at it that much.
Yeah.
So it's now that I'm into this, I'm into the news, I'm always scrolling looking for something, trying to decipher what is true, what is untrue, what is AI, what is not AI, and it's only now that past 10 years I would say I've been hearing about the CBI. So I never knew it was that old when I heard it was implemented since the era with the Honorable Dr. Simmons.
Yeah.
I never knew.
Yeah, we have a caller.
Okay, caller, go ahead. You're live on Island T.
Yeah, sorry to call in, but sorry. But let me say this as quickly as possible. Number one, where the gentleman question is concerned, I do not know the numbers, but obviously men are mentioned more in the Bible than women. And the reason why God says certain things are off limits for women is not because women are any less intelligent or less educated or anything like that. It's simply because God said that one, the man was created before the woman, and the woman was created out of the man. And two, it was the woman who was deceived by the serpent, not the man. The man willfully disobeyed. So those are the two reasons why God said some things off limit. For women, it wasn't for cultural purposes. It wasn't because women are mentally inferior or anything like that. As a matter of fact, I believe women are mentally superior to men, actually. That's number one. Number two,
Greg, I think we should give you a moment of silence and a bit of applause, because even Hortensia didn't seem to realize that you repeat what you said about women just now.
No, honestly, I think women are mentally superior to men. Trust me.
So,
for example,
so when individuals want to say that Greg is completely against women, always remember what Greg said.
Why do you think women get in less accidents than men, and far less accidents than men? Women are mentally superior. At least that's what I believe. Anyway, that's one issue. Another issue is this: the CBI program in its present incarnation, the CBI program in its present form. My understanding is that it didn't start under Simmons, you know. My understanding that what we have now start under Douglas, the Right Honorable Dr. Denzel Douglas.
Yeah.
Because he reformed it.
Yeah, but the CBI.
He reformed it, but it was started under someone, just like how in St. Vincent, Mr. Gonzalez rescinded it, but the party that's hoping to win said they're going to reinforce it. So who started it?
But that is why I say in its present form, it really started under Douglas in its present form.
Okay.
That's my understanding.
Well, we did say that. I did say that when Denzel Douglas went in, he changed it. So, yes, you're right.
Yeah, he made big reformation to it.
Yes.
Not no little one or two things here or there. Made major reformation. And but what was on the PAM, to the best of my understanding, was not this mass commercial large-scale thing. It was
you're right.
Somewhat different, yeah. But as it is presently in its commercial form and so, yeah, this started on the Douglas. But like I say, I never agree with it, and I will never agree with it. Thank you.
Okay. I'm going to play a little bit of a clip. It kind of segues from what we've been discussing, but I think it's only 1 minute and 19 seconds long, so let's see if we can give it a listen.
Trump officially declared martial law April 29th, 2025. He signed the executive order called Strengthening and Unleashing America's Law Enforcement to Pursue Criminals and to Protect Innocent Civilians. This is terrifying, and nobody is talking about it except Rolling Stone magazine for some reason. Please go to whitehouse.gov, read the full text yourself, and spread this word. In summary, he declares that the military, the police, and ICE shall be unleashed into the streets of America to root out anything they declare as crime. They will be shielded from any prosecution for wrongdoing of any kind. If a civil official stands in their way, they will be prosecuted as a criminal. What this means is that no warrants will be needed by anyone. If you get murdered by ICE, that's legal. If a judge or an attorney tries to prosecute them, they will be arrested themselves. This is a state called martial law. It means that the military, the police, and ICE decide the law now. We no longer have rights. As Trump and Pam Bondi have both said, speaking out is a crime. Disagreeing with the president is a crime.
You remember we spoke about, I told you about that, and we heard about a governor or a mayor or somebody being locked up because they tried to intervene in something that I saw the system was doing.
Yeah, and they arrested a judge because they say he was housing somebody that ICE needed as well. Yeah.
So I hope people understand the far-reaching depth and ramifications of these. Just sign on a paper, just sign on a paper and you make something law, impose it. What do they call it again when he signs these things?
Executive orders.
Yes, executive orders. So it leads one to question, is America fast becoming a dictatorship? So, yeah.
Everybody's regretting their votes now, including a lot of the farmers. They were being asked if they had to vote again, if they would vote for the current president, and all their answers are no. My thing is, this man did not tell a lie during his campaign, and I applaud him for that. He was to the point. He acted like his true self. And he said, this is what I'm going to do, this is what I'm not going to do. And it was up to them to listen and look at what he did in his first term and understand that he was going to act in the exact same way. So now him doing all of this should come as no surprise. But you see, a lot of people talk because of their ethnicity and their skin color, they were exempt. But they didn't realize it was going to affect all of us. That even now I seen some of the black folks that voted for him in the U.S. still saying, I would vote for him again. Like, do you realize what's happening? Caucasians are saying the shelves are going to be empty. This is that. And you, with my melanated skin, are saying you would do it again. This is not making sense. He's making it hard for every single one of us in the world.
Yeah, we have a caller. Caller, go ahead, please.
Good morning, Quinn. Good morning,
Hortensia.
Hortensia, Lady Hortensia.
How are you?
Been trying to call in. I don't know if I've missed my spot. I've been trying to call in all morning because the CBI program has something that has always been under my skin.
Yeah.
And I'm trying to understand what has happened. We are intelligent people in this country, and I don't know if it's true. And perhaps I'm saying this right now, that the government that's in power, because we can't go back and call on other people, needs to give us an update. Number one, when was this program started? How long has it been in effect? How many citizens does this country boast that they have now based on this program? And what monies have come into that? Because if people don't have water every day, the electricity is not working right, the hospital doesn't have the proper equipment to save our lives, what is happening to this money? Where is it going? Now, in 2018, I was on my way to Africa and I flew through the UK. And when I checked in with immigration in London, the immigration officer took my passport. It was jolting for me because he took my passport and he looked at me and he said, born in St. Kitts, Nevis? And I said, yes. And I'm thinking, well, you have the passport right in front of you. Then he said, I've been processing these things for many, many years. And I've never, ever process anyone that was born in St. Kitts Nevis. And I said, really? And he went off and he did what he had to do on a back desk somewhere, and he came back. And I said, let me ask you a question. Tell me again, what did you say about I'm the first person you processed after doing these for many, many years? So are you telling me that citizens, bona fide, born, native citizens of St. Kitts Nevis, you've never processed them? He says, no, they're usually people with passports with citizenship through the CBI program. And that, I remember thinking about that. I had a 14-hour flight from there onwards. And it was like a nightmare in my head, because I kept questioning, how can this be? This makes no sense. So what has been all of this secrecy all about? Why have our people, all of us, not known what's been happening, what the numbers are, who the people are? You know, I mean, what has really happened? We need an accounting.
Well,
we need to know.
We are asking the very same question that you are, because we're none the wiser.
I heard a report, and to me, this is just me, it sounds like over 70, might be 70,000.
Mm-hmm.
That's more than us here.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Of course.
Mm-hmm.
Of course.
70 or more. I'm just being generous.
You know, can you imagine you're standing in your country and someone walks up to you who obviously looks different than you do, speaks different than you do, and all of that, and they're demanding the same things that you're demanding, and you're thinking, well, who are you? Go to the back of the line. I'm here first.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
And then caller, and then caller, people might not like to hear this, but when you say go to the back of the line, as our system works, if that individual is of a lighter pigmentation or Caucasian, you might find you're put to the back of the line.
Well, Chris, I lived in the United States for many, many years. And I know what I've been through being in somebody else's country. When I'm in my country, don't mess with me. Don't mess with me. Okay? I born here. I got rights here. I didn't have to pay for mine.
Yeah.
You come with your millions of dollars and your thousands of dollars. I did not have to do that. My navel string is buried here. And we need to know the government, whether it be PAM, Unity, Labor, I don't care how they do it. Maybe this is the one thing that can bring them all together to put this report to us. I mean, I know that's a joke and it's probably never going to happen. But we need to know, and the citizens of St. Kitts Nevis fighting each other. Stop fighting each other. Stop doing foolishness. And let's put our heads together and stand as one to demand what our right is with this program.
Yeah.
Who is doing this? If somebody has stolen money, where's that money gone? What is the accounting? Somebody said something about 42 years. Are you kidding me? I've been living back in Nevis now for 33 years. And I didn't hear much about the CBI program until maybe the early 2000s.
Yeah.
Right? So our people, we need to come together as one and demand this from our government. And if you can't do it, get out the way and let's get somebody in there who could do it. We need to know. We have a right to know. Otherwise, all of we're going to hear, every government that moves out and another one comes in, going to say, oh, how they stole the money, and they stole the money, and they stole the money.
Fingers are constantly going to be pointing.
Of course. Of course. So let's clean it up now. Let's clean it up now. You know? Should we be running all around the world getting loans from all of these different people for the geothermal and the this and the that when we're raking in these millions of dollars in the CBI program every year? Should this be happening, really? It should not. It should not. and we need it needs to be stopped now. Or let's do this. Let's stop it completely. You can't process another citizenship for anyone until we know where we are right now. Stop it.
Okay, caller.
Guys, have a good day.
Yeah,
You too.
thank you. Let's see if we can wrap things up quickly. Because
Well, I have one thing to talk about before we wrap things up.
Go
So
ahead.
Vibes Cartel has a concert in Trinidad, I think, on the month end.
Mm.
But Trinidad is going to restrict him from going to speak to students and do radio programs. They don't want him on the media.
Yeah.
So what's the point of him having the concert in Trinidad?
You're asking me?
I'm asking your opinion. What's the point? Because you're not going to allow him to speak on the media. You're not going to allow him to speak to kids that may be following the lifestyle that he is swerved away from now and being on the good path. So why allow him even to sing what he's famous for? The kids are still going to hear it. We have social media. People are going to be there with their
Look,
phones. So
we're-
what's
we're-
the point? Just
we're-
tell him don't come over all, right?
We're living in a capitalist system where money speaks and whatever else walks. So you want to make the money. I can understand perhaps why they don't want him to speak to the youths, because it is one thing for him to say that he's changed, but it's the next thing when he gets in that environment and they start to goad him on, and
My point
you
exactly.
understand, so I could understand that, but I also understand what you're saying. It's kind of a contradictory.
Yeah.
But anyway, let's wrap up.
Indeed. Have a great weekend, and thanks for tuning in.
WINN is 98.9. 98.9 is Win FM.